Hey Dan, it is Friday, January the 10th, and this video is from last night, which is curling night in Centerville. And Lucas and Dave is that person there on the left, who they are partners in the golf league that Mike and I play in, so I play golf with them a lot. They both work at Merchants Bank. Well, you know, Lucas works at Merchants Bank, but Dave works at Merchants Bank as well. And those two, along with Nick, who is a Spanish interpreter for the hospital, needed a sub. So this is the team that I always sub for. So I thought I would shoot video of one end while I told you about my week. But let's start with talking about curling. We at this point we're up 4-1 after 4 ends. This is the fifth. We're up 5-1 after 5 ends, and this guy here in the black and green jacket he's their skip, and he is so good. Unfortunately, they're only playing with 3 people, which means their lead has to throw 3, their second has to throw 3, and then the skip throws 2. Anyway, I'm throwing lead, which I don't generally like, but Nick wanted to throw. He wanted to throw second today, so that's fine. Anyway, we're doing well in this match. Which we've actually won. But anyway, my week has been dominated by trying to get this house closed, the rectory, as we call it. I think I told you that, right? It's been really stressful. I talked to you about what happened last week, where they couldn't get the payoff number from U.S. banks. We had to delay the closing by a week. It's like, man, what a hassle that was. It changes the payoff number. It changes the number that the amount of money we have to give them. And because the sellers are a husband and wife who are going through a bitter divorce, I was concerned, especially everything that had gone on, that the house was not going to be in the same condition that it was when we first looked at it 2 months ago, because it's not been occupied since September. So I told Sherry, our realtor, that I wanted to do one final walkthrough Thursday, before we closed today, and just to make sure everything was copacetic, everything was as I expected. So we went in yesterday. The heat was still on, which was great. Everything looked about like I remembered. And I said to Sherry, hey, do you mind if we turn the main water on? I want to just check and make sure there's no split pipes or anything we don't know about. And so she checked with the listing agent, and the listing agent gave us permission, thought it was fine to turn the water on. So I turned the main water on in the basement, and we checked all the connections in the basement. Everything was fine there. And then we went upstairs to the kitchen. We checked the kitchen sink, and it had some leaks, but it was fine. And before we could even go up the stairs to the second floor, water dripped on our heads, and water started pouring through the ceiling from upstairs. So I ran down, turned the water off. Sherry ran up stairs and discovered that the faucet on the sink had been left on full, and the sink was plugged. So the basin had filled and then overflowed, and the floor up there it's a piece of crap. So the carpet got wet, the floor got wet, and god dang it, the ceiling in the kitchen and in the living room is now stained. I mean, it just really pisses me off. And I told Sherry, I said, out of fairness, I could have turned this on when we were here looking at it 2 months ago. And she said, yeah, you could have. It also could have been somebody else who had looked at the house, after you looked at it. And I guess that's fair. And also, we certainly didn't plug the pipes. So what we did is we ended up negotiating a $1,000 payment from the buyers to us, and then the responsibility for fixing it would be ours. So after we closed yesterday, at close, we got a $1,000 check. This morning after we closed, we got a $1,000 check. So we're going to use that, obviously, to start working on that house. And I told Preston probably the very first thing we're going to do, and he agrees, is we need to get that bathroom gutted and then redone, because it's really a piece of crap. It's probably the weakest link in that house. The rest of it's doable. The roof is okay. The siding, yeah, we can wait until summer, but we need to do something about that, either painting it or replacing it or something. Anyway, but we now have the keys. We are now the owners. Preston's got his set, Beth's got her set, I've got my set, but really it's Preston's house. But we're really anxious to go, and I know Preston's anxious to get working on it because he wants to move into it. And I know that he agrees that the first thing we have to do is get that upstairs bathroom redone. And I will shoot a video of that later. And then we can talk more in depth. I'll talk more in depth in a video about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And but really, it's pretty much taking it down, taking the floor down to the floor joists, taking all the flooring off. And I think we're going to have to redo at least one of the walls. But it's going to be fine. I think it's going to actually be really nice. We'll put some tile down. We'll pick up a tub from the Restore if possible. And I think it's going to be sweet. So that is, that's what's going on with the closing. We now have the other closing to do at the end of January with a house on West Broadway. And this house, the rectory, is on West Wabasha, which is also 7th Street. And so it's actually, I don't think you've seen, have you seen Stefan and Kat's new house that they had on Broadway, the big one that they have? I don't know if you've seen that one or if you only ever went to their apartment over in Main Square. Anyway, this house, that the rectory, is like right behind their house on 7th Street. It's been really stressful, like I said. I've been clenching my teeth a lot at night, and that's pretty much how I look right there most of the time. I'm sore from having dug those giant blocks of ice out of the river. But I'm glad this is done now. That's one piece that's done. Now the rectory is the next piece. We can get that done. And then, the house on Wabasha. We don't have a name for that yet. We'll have to think about that. I'm looking forward to having a weekend. Oh, and the roasting space. We've been working, as you saw a little bit on that video, a lot on that. We've got all the drywall on that one exterior wall up. And now I have to go in and mud the friggin' thing, which I'm not looking forward to. But what do you do? So, but generally speaking, it's, it was an okay week. It's, Sarah down at the river asked me just how generally things were going because I haven't seen her in forever. And it's like, things are fine, I guess. But then I started thinking about it, and things are way better than fine. Ann and Dave are in Tahiti. It's Ann's birthday today, by the way. She's 39. And they'll be back today or tomorrow, I think. Back in the States anyway. Dave gets back, I think, on Sunday into Winona, and then Ann won't be back for another couple of weeks. She'll be down in Omaha. And then Todd and Julie have been in Curacao. They'll be down there for another few days, and then they'll come back. It's and it's January. You know what I mean? It's just January, and the doldrums have set in. We have no snow on the ground. It's cold, but no snow, and it's overcast and blah. And looking forward to your visit, February 3rd. So I'll be dropping Beth off that morning at the airport, or that early afternoon, and I think you get in early evening. So I'll just hang out in the cities and pick you up. You don't need to bring booties. I've got booties and gloves you can use. You do need to bring your big swim coat, though, because, I think that's a must. And we can sit every day if you want. I've already spread the word that Dan's going to be in town. Everyone's super excited. That RAV4 video was interesting. By the way, I did watch and listen to the entire thing without doing other things. I did not, just have it playing in the background. I paid very careful attention. I might have to go back and watch it because I'm not quite sure what what point you were trying to make. Obviously, when I asked about the if you measure the electricity when you charge it, you're just like, well, no, that's not really it's not the point of what I'm doing. It's like, okay, I must have missed something. And no, I don't think I was. I know what you were doing. You were measuring the difference in fuel economy between driving on charge versus driving on hybrid mode. I imagine there is a RAV4 community out there who are now making little statues of you because you're like a demigod in that community for having done this work. There you go. That's all I got. Back to the curling match, I guess. So Dave's throwing his last two stones. This guy with the orange and green Bay cap on is standing right in the way. But so that's Lucas acting as skip for Dave, who's throwing his stones. We ended up, let's see. I'm not sweeping this. I don't think this is Dave's last stone. We don't have hammer in this end anyway. But we ended up scoring one, I think, in this end. This is the sixth end, right? We ended up scoring three in this end. I can't remember. We scored one. We scored three in the next. Anyway, we ended up winning like 9-2. And it was a dismantling. But we all played pretty well. And it was a good night of curling. It's one of those, those situations. Lucas's dad he's got Lewy body dementia, which is a form of Alzheimer's, or maybe it's Lewy body is a form of Alzheimer's, and he, in this last year, has significantly declined and has now stopped eating, and it's just a matter of time before he, before he dies, before he breathes his last, and so. It was a sobering ride over and a sobering discussion, but it was good, talking about all the things that they're doing with his dad. They're going, he's been reading a lot of poetry to him, listening to Bob Dylan, which his dad loves. And they're pretty sure that he is cognizant of some of the stuff. He's cognizant of the conversations. He says when he plays music, he can see his dad's mouth moving along with it. Which is really interesting the way our mind works with that. I told him that with my mom, even though she had no idea who I was, and she had gone off this, cognition cliff, when I played old time country and gospel, she could still sing along with it. So that's all I got. I guess I will stop this, and you can watch the rest of this match. This might be, in fact, the last stone. Let's see. No, I think Dave's got. Yeah, Dave has one more to throw. So anyway, I'll go ahead and I'll wrap this up on the audio side, and you can go and watch the rest of this end. So hope you're doing well, and that's my story, and I'm curling to it.